Hi, it's Joy and today you're watching The Clone Wars Season 2 Episode 20 Death Trap, which is a very ominous title. I am excited to see where the show's going to go next. A reminder before we start that you can find the unedited version of this reaction and all my reactions on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go. Brainwashing babies! They're brainwashing baby clones.
Who's the new guy with the long hair?
Some
last minute replacement. Looks green to me.
You're all green.
Together, right?
Right.
With the training we got, I feel ready for anything.
I just don't agree with cloning and babies. I mean, these children are not going to be children for very long, they're going to become cannon fodder and they'll probably be dead in less than a year, so... Not very impressed.
You'll have the chance to serve right alongside 2 Jedi Knights.
Wow.
These kids shouldn't be allowed to be kids.
You just wanted to show off. Hey, when I show off, it is instructive.
God.
And inspiring.
Anakin, when you show off, it's a Tuesday.
You're done. You only get one chance. I promise you the Separatists don't give more. Next.
They're children, they're children, they're children.
Training is no match for experience, and it's the one thing none of you have.
Well, then maybe give them experience.
I know that look.
First shot. Boom, 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 I imagine. Wait. My brain is working very slowly. It's kind of been in the back of my head, and then I don't know. Is this little Boba Fett? Because at the beginning it says something about his dad, and I've seen the movies, I promise, but Jango Fett, and then that's why he can shoot, because he was trained and he's not happy to fight and everything. That's what this is, right?
Receive code-5 transmission.
Ooh, who are you with? Yes!
I'm sending you the data now.
You're lost. Come on, cut the kid a break.
Oh, they're all family.
Thank you.
Oh goodness.
Eyes on where you're headed, cadet.
He's not with the other cadets. The other cadets haven't noticed that he wasn't with them. Even the guy next to him didn't notice that his, line partner wasn't there.
The general requests your presence immediately, sir.
No rest for the weary. Put these inside my quarters.
Oh no, he's gonna kill a clone, an innocent clone.
General Windu's quarters got hit, but he survived.
Survived?
Yes. Was not a foolproof plan after all. I knew Boba Fett appeared at some point as a kid in this. I think I saw his name when I was flicking through some lists or something. But I'm sad that it's trying to murder people. Though one day he will help save the most precious being of all, so.
It's a miss. Repeat, miss. What should I do?
Head to the reactor.
Who is using this kid like this? You do realise the people you're with will kill you if required.
Yes, sir. I know,
They just
sir.
trust their own people with their faces.
Here, keep the safety on.
Copy that.
Oh, they just are so trusting.
Loaded with the emergency status. We'll get someone there
What?
soon.
Oh. You're gonna push him over the side. Okay, you see, you can push him.
What are you doing?
Just push him over the side. It looks like his dad. He can't kill his dad.
Don't worry.
Oh,
CT-147.
it was a stun, not a kill.
Our sweep is now covered over half the ship battle.
But you've missed a small child on a rampage.
More ground we cover.
Oh my goodness. So yeah,
More action than you signed on for. Eh,
the clone he didn't kill just got blown up.
Fine. All
What's your escape plan here, kid?
Stay with the group.
Yes, sir.
There's no one noticing this kid is constantly wandering off.
How are we gonna get through this?
See, flying under the radar, looking up one of the clones is the perfect infiltration method. Well, he's in his escape pod now. And of course he's not in an escape pod with a grown-up. No, everyone evacuate. All clones off. Admiral, evacuate.
Ship.
So what do we do? Our jobs.
Oh, these poor babies shouldn't have to have that. I mean, in this situation, it's very lucky that they have this training, but they shouldn't have to have it.
Sounds like our saboteur may have gotten to the cadets.
Uh-huh.
We have to find that.
Do you remember that cadet you saw directly outside of your quarters for no reason?
What are you gonna do with them?
What do you think?
Let the pod go.
Go?
Child, too naive.
This, honey. You'll get your revenge in time.
This
Now get on
poor,
board. We have to get
poor
out of here.
kids.
Or do it.
Disengage the pod safely. Are they gonna fire on it? Or just leave them behind? Because leaving them behind, someone can find
A
them.
traitor? He was a traitor? Wait, it's the Jedi!
She did say living witnesses. I'm surprised she didn't try and kill them.
He's nothing like us. Let's hope he is. If he is
Hmm.
like us, he'll realize he's wrong.
Well, we can hope. Okay, this was a really interesting episode. I definitely, at some point when I was scrolling to get episode titles, saw the words Boba Fett and the kid's face, and then I completely forgot that that was a thing. Then this episode, I suddenly was like, wait, the father mentioned this? Yes. It's a really interesting concept because obviously he is essentially looks the same as the clones when they're at that age, but he's not mentally the same. He isn't brainwashed and conditioned and all of the terrible stuff that I really disagree with. Like, yes, it helps them in the times of the battle, but those boys should have been having a childhood. I mean, not that they're even going to be kids for very long. The concept of him being able to blend in seamlessly and kind of play along, he was raised with near them at least, it's such a clever way of getting on board the ship, and I'm very intrigued about who he is with. They don't seem like separatists, it seems more like a kind of rogue criminal element that doesn't like the Jedi, I suppose because the Jedi are kind of law enforcement to an extent, even though I don't agree with everything the Jedi do. They do try and stop bad things from happening, and criminals from criminaling. So seeing kind of this kid who wasn't raised as a clone, wasn't raised with that kind of moral code, but he was raised with his father's code. He was raised to be an excellent fighter, an excellent shot. One day he will help save the most important creature in the entire galaxy, universe, ever to have existed. But just sort of seeing him in this place where he's basically just an orphaned kid, isn't he? Because I couldn't remember at what point Jango Fett died, but I'm guessing from this it was in the second film. And obviously it was Mace Windu. I remember bits and pieces of that. I know I rewatched the films recently, but my memory is not what it used to be. I'm very sorry about that. And yes, seeing this kid on this vengeance mission, you know, you kind of wish he'd been taken in by the Jedi, or wish he'd been taken in by caring people who might help him see that, like, things aren't as black and white, and the message at the beginning about who my father was doesn't matter as much as my memory of him. Because yeah, Jango Fett was not a very good person. He is the reason that these clone slaves exist. He's done bad things in his time. He was trying to kill people. He's not a good person. He wasn't killed for being an innocent bystander. He was killed for being a bad guy. I still maybe ideally disarmament and prison, but you know. But from the kid's point of view, his dad was his hero, he idolised him, and now he's an orphan and he's alone. You can definitely see why he is on this path of vengeance, and that his father, despite his young age, he has the skill set to kind of achieve it, and people will continually underestimate him. This episode also really reinforced the fact that the clones are this huge extended family. They care about each other, they care about the kids, they've all been there. It doesn't sit right with me still. That is obviously not the last we've seen of Boba Fett in the Clone Wars. Obviously he will not be much older than this at any point in the Clone Wars. But then he obviously ages up and he's getting his own show and everything. So I kind of am glad that I'm seeing this backstory to him here and there. I'm just intrigued about it. Because again, his story is not one I have the most knowledge about. Even when I rewatched the films, I have to be honest, I didn't fully take it all in. I know the first time I watched the films, I was kind of just confused about who they were a bit at the time. I think I was watching the films and playing Sims or something the first time I watched them, and so I did not give them my full attention, and it was a mistake. And then when he came up in the Clone Wars, in Mandalorian, I was like, I know the name, I have no idea who he is, and people were like, well, if you've seen films, you know, and I was like, I have, I promise, I just don't know. So I'm very excited to kind of find out more information about him. I remember him from rewatching, I remember him very clearly from the original trilogy, and then watching the original trilogy going back, I was like, okay, I can piece that is there and there with him. So I'm excited to get another piece of this wider Star Wars lore, and I'm excited. This was a good episode. Again, it was also a good episode because we got to see some of the kids, kind of what it's like for the clones when they're training. If you would like to watch the unedited version of this reaction, it's on my Patreon. You get this 2 weeks in advance, edited version 1 week in advance, and thank you for watching.